sound you're making. I just wanna lose myself in you until we leave this shaking. So let me take you to the place I lay.
Welcome to another episode of Airspeed Sessions, where we delve into the lives of everyday gigging musicians. I'm Rusty Schaefer, your host, and this podcast is sponsored by Airspeed Audio. Our goal here is to give you some insight as to what motivates these musicians to keep playing and to let you in on their journey and their music. So you just heard a clip from the band Radical West. Welcome, Sawyer Schneider. You are the guitar player for Radical West.
Yes, one of. I'm the lead guitar player.
The lead
The two
guitar
of us. Yeah.
Awesome. So you don't play any chords then, no rhythm.
Oh, I play a lot of chords, but yeah,
joking.
yeah, different voicings.
So let's start with some of the basics. So you guys are in Vegas.
Yep.
You have how many albums out? Just one?
Just the one. We're working on getting another one out here soon.
Fantastic. And that album was released. It's on iTunes. I know this because I bought it. It is amazing. It's entitled, self-titled Radical West, right?
1 year later, actually.
1 year later, that's right. And that's my favorite song on the album. It's
Cool.
the first song. It's just so good. It's very interesting. We'll get into this, but it's I guess it's classified as R&B on iTunes. And it's, you think R&B, and I guess for my generation, you think Miles Davis, you think maybe a little Cool in the Gang, you think, I don't know, you think those kind of artists. I was incredibly pleasantly surprised at your album, not at just the music, the musicality, but the production. And it was clean. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of space in your guys' recordings, space for the musicians, space for the listeners. Was that deliberate?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We tried to use good dynamics and add, like contrast between the two parts or 3-4 parts of a song. So yeah, that was 100% deliberate.
Where to see you. So I want to go back to the beginning. You're from Ohio originally.
Yep.
You start to play guitar at what age? What age did you pick this up?
Well, I got my first guitar when I was 8.
8?
Yep, my uncle gave me a guitar for Christmas, and it basically just took off from there. I was noodling it around for a little bit, and then I took lessons with my dad every single Saturday. We were driving over to Fairborn, Ohio, and yeah, I just fell in love with it, man.
I think it's incredibly unique that you not only knew what you wanted at age 8, because God knows I don't even think I knew I was alive. I don't know. I don't know many 8-year-olds that just say, yeah, this is a go. Let's pour some effort into this.
Mm-hmm.
What was it about? I mean, was it the first chords you played? Was it the first notes? What was it that you just went, oh my God, this is for me?
Yeah, I don't know, just the touch of it, the feel, the timbre of the instrument itself. Like I was saying before, I started off on a classical acoustic. So I don't know, man. It was something that like I could put my hands on, could feel, I could hear. I was in control of everything. And like trying to just get better so I could learn other songs, write my own music. Like I started trying to write my own music probably as soon as I picked up the guitar.
No kidding.
Yeah, I was just tinkering around with stuff.
That's amazing. And was there music in the household?
My dad, well, he started playing when I started playing.
Really?
Yeah, my mom was in like the church choir for a little while, but they always played good music. They always played like Police, Peter Gabriel, Queen, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. So I was always around good music growing up.
It's really interesting because, when I was a kid, of course, I'm a little bit older than you, and my parents came from that Elvis generation, and I love Elvis, but I don't think that, certainly when I sort of found music, maybe as a teenager, it was not their music. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
all those bands you mentioned, that's what I listened to in high school. Police, Dire Straits, Genesis, AC/DC. And that was far afield from anything that my folks would listen to. They were, they were old country, Glenn Campbell, Charlie Pride. I mean, just Kenny Rogers. It was just amazing. So for you to actually, for that gap to kind of just close with your father is amazing to me.
Yeah. Yeah, my parents had a really strong role in supporting me and always pushing me to be a better person, a better musician. So I'm super grateful that I had two wonderful parents.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, okay, so you start playing at age 8. You've got an acoustic nylon string guitar, but you're going at it. Are you taking lessons?
Yeah, I was taking lessons every Saturday.
Okay, so you were taking lessons, you were jamming. Did you jam with friends? Did you find anybody else, your peers that played?
Well, my brother started playing bass. He got into saxophone a little before I got into trumpet. So we were playing multiple instruments. And then my next door neighbor picked up drums and guitar.
There you
So,
go. There's the band, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's fantastic. So, okay, so take me now. So you're doing all this. Take me into high school. What's happening in high school?
I joined my first band when I was a freshman in high school. Like first official band. I was in another band that was just kind of, practicing in an attic. But my first official band was called Behold Eternity. It was like a thrash metal band. And then right around 16, I quit the band and then joined another band called Maryland Avenue. And they're a little more like Southern kind of pop rock. They were really cool. So I was playing with them for a little while. And then I was offered to go on tour and didn't do it, unfortunately, because I wanted to graduate high school. But I was going to go on Mayhem Fest with a band called A Graceful, who one of my buddies was in. He was doing some touring before. So yeah, high school was kind of like the starting point of learning how to play with a band,
So,
tightening up my act a bit and all that.
so prior to high school, I'm assuming you got yourself an electric guitar at some point, or before that. You got yourself maybe even a steel string acoustic or had access to one.
Mhm.
You got yourself an amplifier. Was it all about sort of perfecting? Because by this time you probably can play well, but talk to me about tone and perfecting sort of the sound that you wanted to make that really resonated with you.
Yeah, I started buying more equipment. I got a 5150, and then I had a 6505 cab. I actually had two 6505 cabs, so I had a full stack. It was ridiculous. And I started messing around with rack gear and pedals and trying to get a better ear for, messing around with EQs and distortions and whatnot, and clean tones.
By the time you got into those bands in high school, did you feel the other players were up to your speed, or were they looking at you going, "Oh my God, this guy is just heads and tails farther than us"?
That was kind of where I was, but there were some other bands that we would play with, and they would be exceptional. They were a little older, so I was always the youngest in the group. I was playing with guys who were like 19, 20, 21, and I was 17. So yeah, I mean, in my own groups, I was kind of like the top dog in some ways, but the other players that we played with were great too.
Now was it all covers, or were you trying to do originals, or
It was all originals at that point.
all originals?
Yeah, we played one Skid Row cover, and that was it. So
Wow. So you were just, were you the main writer? Were you collaborating?
it was a collaboration at that point. And it's always been a collaboration, like with all the other bands that I've been in. Everyone's pulled their weight for the most part. The band that I'm in now, like everyone is doing 100%. Like we're just go, 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 go.
So in Radical West, right? So how does that work? So there's what, 5 guys in the band?
Yep.
How does that work? I mean, you ever get in arguments about, hey, we should go here, go there, or is it just a creative sort of, inspirational type journey?
Yeah, we don't really butt heads too much, especially with writing. There've been some conversations about how we get to the next point, and say like during the winter months, maybe like December when a bunch of stuff's happening, we're a little slower. So then all of us are like anxious and like really antsy to come back, and start hitting it again. So there's a couple years ago, we just had a conversation about making sure we're all on board, and then once that conversation happened, we're good to go. But we're all like super super good buddies. We're family. We're not.
And do you sort of just, when you write, it's one thing to write the song, it's another thing to then arrange and have the production. Is it kind of like, hey, Sawyer, just write a lead for us here? I mean, do you kind of let everybody do their own thing with their instruments?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, we just always try to make sure we're not clashing chords. We're not stepping on Cam's vocals. We're playing some rhythms in Tootie and like trying to tighten some stuff up. But we have a really good system. We have a Behringer MX32 at our practice space that we can record through. And then once we have the recordings live, we literally just take all those stems, I throw it into Logic, and then we just start producing the song, started arranging the song, cutting some pieces, adding some pieces, looking at tones and whatnot.
So are you doing the production?
Yeah.
Producing? Well, okay, that's fantastic. So
Introducing the Airspeed 2x12 PPD speaker cabinet. Designed and custom built in the USA with a focus on innovative design, expert craftsmanship, stunning elegance, and stellar audio quality. Our patent-pending performance projection design system lets you hear your speakers at their best. Angling the speaker baffle back 15 degrees, you now hear sound on axis instead of off-axis. You can learn more about the product on our website at airspeedaudio.com.
I mean, I can say the album because I've heard it, and I actually own it. You didn't give it to me; I bought it. It's really fantastic, and I can tell that you guys don't get in each other's way. Certainly, the production. There is so much space for everything musically. It's kind of a throwback to me because a lot of, I want to say, younger metal, speed metal stuff is just about noise. And that might sound like it's coming from an old guy, but there are, if you listen to recordings, I mean, there's just recordings that songs are good, but they just maybe too much instrumentation, people stepping on each other. But your album is fantastic. I can't wait to hear the next one. I'm excited.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Like I was saying about the process, like I'll do all the demos, I'll produce that. We have a really solid recording to go into the studio. And then as soon as we're in the studio, we work with a producer named Robert Katz, and he is just absurd. He's ridiculous. He's so good.
Awesome.
His ear and like all the equipment that he has and the knowledge of how to utilize it and everything. He's incredible. So he really takes our demos, and then like our demos are here. And then once we finish that recording, they're just beyond what we ever expected.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the role of a good producer for sure.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
Tell me about, so when did you move to Vegas?
2019.
And so that was how many years after high school?
I graduated high school in 2010, and then I went to college from 2012 until 2016. And then I lived in Nashville for a little bit, and then I decided to move here.
So what was happening during the college years? Was it the same sort of thing, joining bands, writing, all of that?
Yeah, I was in one band called People the Kangaroo. My girlfriend at the time and I would play like little nursing home gigs and stuff like that together, just as a duo. But yeah, I mean, I went to a music school, I went to Berkeley, so it's just being around music full time and better musicians than me, because I'm from Ohio, a small town in Ohio, and then like all of a sudden there were a bunch of international students who were amazing, and other people from around the country who are incredible, and just all in one spot.
So did joining Radical West bring you to Vegas, or did you meet those guys after you were here?
It was after the fact. Yeah, I moved here, and then I met Cameron during COVID. we're a COVID band, so there's nothing else to do. We didn't know what was going to go on, so we were like, let's just
Right.
write music for music's sake,
Wow, very cool. So you guys, so you met, so in the span of how many months did all five of you get together or finally?
A year. It took a year. Yeah, we brought on the final member is our keyboard player, and we found him literally as we were going into the studio, like day one, and he
Wow.
was on board and he came to work with us.
So it's, I mean, it's an amazing, you've had this amazing journey so far. What has the reaction been to the first album?
People love it. The people who've heard it, they love it. It's just trying to get the people who haven't listened to it to listen to it.
Right. Now,
Yeah, we've had some quotes like a friend of ours, a friend of my wife and I, she calls it a breakup banger. So if you're going through some hard times, listen to 1 year later.
yeah, and it's borderline. I don't know. You guys go in and out of different styles. I mean, is that fair to say? I listen to these songs and I hear jazz, and then I hear 4/4 rock, and then I hear all these different songs, and it's truly amazing. It's like some of it is, hey, put on the album and listen to it. Others is like, turn it up, we got to rock out.
Right. Yeah, we were. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we were just experimenting, trying to figure out like what we do best, what stylistically we do best, and then also not trying to conform to a single genre. So, like I said, we started writing during COVID, so it was literally writing music for music's sake, not writing music to stick with the genre of R&B. I know like the album might be labeled as R&B. That's because we can't possibly put more than like 3 different styles down on Spotify or Apple Music. So we had to kind of bulk together some genres that kind of blanket the like 3 or 4 songs on the album, and then another genre that blankets another 3 or 4. So that making that decision was tricky.
Yeah, I can imagine it would be. And how does that work now going forward? I'm assuming, do you have material that's ready for album number 2?
Yes, yeah, we have material that's finished for album number 3. We have so much music that we're sitting on.
Will it be the same kind of journey where it's a kind of different stylistically, or what do you think?
Yeah, a little here and there. We kind of found what we like to do the most. So more of the Americana style songs are kind of just pushed to the wayside. We like that style. I feel like we do it really well, but we're more into funk, R&B, indie rock, and I feel like we do that best as a group.
That's awesome. So let's go to the live stuff. Let's talk about the gigs in Vegas, where you're playing. Is it all originals? Are you doing covers? What are you doing?
It's both. It's both. Yeah, we schedule original gigs that are just strictly original, but then we also schedule cover gigs that are strictly cover gigs. And some of those cover gigs will have some overlap. Some of the places give us a little more leeway, so we can get away with playing some of our originals to promote the album that's already out, or new music that we're releasing, or social media, whatever it might be. But for the most part, it's just covers.
Wow. And so what excites you? I mean, how many days a week? Let's still start there. Are you playing on the strip?
Guaranteed 2. We normally pick up another 1, another 2 a week, but it's a guaranteed 2.
So what excites you about playing live?
Well, like we don't play the same show every night. We improv certain things. We'll take moments that we, don't necessarily like have the opportunity to do the last night. So we know so much material. We probably have like 6 hours worth of covers. And then also like we'll get random requests, and we're like, we don't know the song, but we're gonna play it, I guess. So everything kind of keeps us on our toes, and we just have fun with it.
That's great. What are you using live as far as amplifiers and cabinets go?
Yeah, so I'm using a Kemper floorboard. It's their like live model, so it's not like the rack or anything for the head. So I use that, and then I run it through an orange cab, and I use the orange pedal baby as my preamp, and then I'm always using this old '80s Pacifica that I picked up, and I like spruce it up a bit. I put some Seymour Duncans in it, so it has some nice humbuckers and new electronics and pots and
Perfect.
tuners, hardware, and whatnot.
You might be interested to know the neck on that guitar was made by Warmoth. Are you familiar with Warmoth
Mm-mm.
guitar necks? So back in the 80s and 90s, and even now, they were famous for, you bought a guitar and you never knew if the neck was going to be any good. And you bought a retrofit neck from Warmoth. Well, they made a deal with Yamaha to supply those necks, and that was a big deal of that model, Pacifica.
Oh, really?
When it first came out, to have a Warmoth neck on it was like, that just took it from, oh, it's a Yamaha guitar to, oh, wow. So very
Yeah,
interesting.
dude, this thing plays really, really well. It's sort of like the Mike Stern signature.
Yeah. And what
kind of made it.
do you have regular full-size Duncan humbuckers in there, or what do you have?
Yeah, one is a regular full size, and then the other one is a single coil sized humbucker, so it's stacked.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
nice.
in that little slot.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so where can people find you on social media? Let's get that going, and we'll get that up on the screen as well.
Yeah, my page is Sawyer_Schneider, and then the band page is Radical West. We're on TikTok, Instagram. We have a website that's radicalwestband.com, so you can find us there as well.
And I'm assuming that that it gives your schedule, where you're playing and so forth.
Yeah, the site does. Yeah.
Perfect. Sawyer, this has been great. Love to hear about your journey. I recommend to everybody this album. It's nothing like you ever heard, and it's fantastic. And I can't say enough about all of your guys' musicality. It's amazing. Thank you so much for appearing on Airspeed Sessions, and we wish you the best. And thank you very much.
Of course, thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, take care.